Have you ever heard of a plant so beautiful? It was literally named Beautiful Woman. And yet, it was dangerous enough to steal your sight. Or your life. During the Renaissance, elegant women in Venice would drip its extract into their eyes, not to treat a disease but to make their gaze more seductive. Risking blindness for beauty. It sounds insane now, but back then, that was high fashion. But this isn't just a story about vanity. This plant, Belladonna, has lured lovers, killed kings, fueled ancient wars, and even helped serial killers hide in plain sight. And today, it's still around us, used in medicine, referenced in thrillers, and misunderstood by millions. In this video, we're going on a journey through time, myth, murder, science, and culture. From its roots in ancient sorcery to its place in modern medicine, I promise, Belladonna is not just a poisonous plant. It's a symbol of how far we'll go for power, beauty, and control. So if you're the kind of person who loves strange history, fascinating science, and the stories hidden in nature, stay with me. You're in for something special. And hey, before we dive in, do me a quick favor. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below. Type 1 if you're loving the video so far, or 0 if it needs work. We read every comment, and we're here to improve. Now, let's uncover the dark beauty of Belladonna. Now, let's talk about the name itself, Belladonna. It rolls off the tongue like something out of a fairy tale, doesn't it? But its roots go much deeper, into myth, fear, and death. The plant's scientific name is Atropa belladonna, and the first part, Atropa, comes straight from Greek mythology, from one of the three fates, Atropos. She was the sister who had the final say in every life. While one fate spun the thread and the other measured it, Atropos was the one who cut it. Snip. End of story. Naming a plant after her wasn't just poetic, it was a warning. This wasn't your everyday herb. This was the kind of plant that could end a life quietly, elegantly, and without leaving a trace. Then there's the second half of the name, Belladonna, which literally means beautiful woman in Italian. Why? Because women used it to dilate their pupils, creating that wide-eyed, glowing gaze we now associate with romantic paintings. Back then, that look meant desire, mystery, and power. But here's what most people don't realize. The same chemical that made your eyes more seductive could also send your heart racing, your brain spinning, or worse, stop both completely. It's like naming a perfume, beautiful death. Lovely on the surface, deadly underneath. Mini lesson. The lesson here is that names carry stories. They reflect how humans once related to the natural world, not just as scientists, but as poets, warriors, and survivors. When our ancestors named Belladonna, they weren't just categorizing a species. They were warning us. This is nature's trickster, seductive, dangerous, and never to be underestimated. And Belladonna wasn't the only one, because as you're about to see, some people didn't just fear it. They used it, weaponized it, even worshipped it. Let me tell you the story of one woman who crossed the line. A nurse, a healer, and quietly, a killer. Let me take you to France, mid-1800s. Hospitals at that time weren't what we know today. There were no sterile gloves, no IV drips, no beeping machines. Just dim rooms, quiet footsteps, and trust placed in the steady hands of nurses. And one of those nurses was a woman named Marie-Jeanne Ray. To her patients, she was kind, gentle, attentive. She always had a soft voice and a sweet treat in hand. What they didn't know was that those candies were laced with belladonna. In just over a year, 6 to 8 people died under her care. The youngest? An 11-year-old child. Authorities were puzzled at first. The deaths seemed natural, even peaceful. But something felt off. And eventually, the truth unraveled. Marie claimed she wasn't trying to kill anyone. She said she was experimenting, learning how different doses affected behavior. She insisted it was all in the name of science and healing. And here's where the story becomes uncomfortable. Back then, mental health wasn't well understood. Marie likely suffered from hypochondria, obsessing over illness, including her own. She would even fake symptoms, just to study how doctors treated her. Some said she was sick. Others said she was brilliant. But either way, her methods crossed the line between curiosity and cruelty. The court could have sentenced her to death. France had over 30 charges that fit her case. But instead, they gave her 20 years. And the question lingers. Was she a misunderstood medical mind ahead of her time? Or a predator hiding behind a nurse's smile? Mini lesson. The scary part is, evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes, it looks like a caregiver. A professional. Someone offering you candy with a gentle smile. And that's why context and caution matter, especially when it comes to substances we don't fully understand. Because while Belladonna may be deadly, it's humans who choose how to use it. But Marie wasn't the first. And she definitely wasn't the last. Because long before modern hospitals, Belladonna had already played a part in ancient wars, dark rituals, and whispered spells. In the next part, we're traveling back even further. To the ancient Greeks, Roman generals, and medieval witches who believed Belladonna held power beyond imagination. Long before Marie-Jeanne Ray ever offered poisoned candy, Belladonna already had a dark legacy, woven through ancient rituals, military tactics, and whispered legends. Let's start with the ancient Greeks. They didn't just grow belladonna, they drank it. Mixed with wine or crushed into herbal brews, it was used to induce trances, ease pain, or even reach the spirit world. To them, belladonna wasn't just a plant. It was a bridge between this world and something else. Then came the Romans, and they had other plans. Roman generals, always looking for an edge in battle, were said to poison enemy wells or contaminate grain supplies with belladonna. It was a silent weapon. No arrows, no swords, just confusion, dizziness, paralysis. In a world where victory often depended on surprise, this plant became part of the playbook, a strategy hidden in the soil. And then came the witches. During the Middle Ages, belladonna was no longer just feared, it became feared and forbidden. Women accused of witchcraft were said to mix it into flying ointments, creams rubbed on the body to trigger wild hallucinations of flying through the night sky. Was it real flight? Of course not. But the sense of weightlessness, of freedom, of escape from persecution. That part? Very real, very human. These stories might sound like folklore, but they're laced with truth. Belladonna contains compounds that disrupt how your body perceives motion, time, even reality. People didn't just feel like they were flying, they believed it with all their heart. And that belief? It shaped entire centuries of fear, misunderstanding, and burnings. Mini lesson. Throughout history, belladonna wasn't just used as a poison. It was used as a tool. A tool for power, a tool for control, a tool for escape. Whether in the hands of a general, a priestess, or a midwife, its power was never really about the plant. It was about the intention of the person using it. And that's exactly why belladonna didn't just vanish with time. Because as stories evolved, it found a new place to hide. Inside books, inside films, inside pop culture. Coming up next, we're going to explore how this deadly beauty became a star in detective novels, classic thrillers, and modern media, quietly captivating us all over again. Even after centuries of fear, superstition, and misuse, belladonna never really disappeared. Instead, it found a new stage, fiction. You see, there's something oddly irresistible about a poison that looks harmless. A beautiful plant with a deadly secret. Writers, filmmakers, and artists couldn't resist the drama. Let's start with the queen of crime herself, Agatha Christie. In her short story The Bulls of Crete, a woman begs famed detective Hercule Poirot for help. Her husband has gone mad, convinced he's no longer human, but a raging bull. It sounds bizarre, until Poirot discovers the truth. The man was unknowingly exposed to belladonna. Every symptom, paranoia, hallucinations, aggression, was textbook poisoning. And Agatha wasn't alone. Belladonna has appeared in dozens of detective stories, period dramas, even films like The Others or The Favorite. Why? Because it embodies everything a good mystery needs: beauty, danger, and the question of intent. Did they mean to do it? Or was it an accident? Even outside crime stories, Belladonna has become a symbol of seduction, of elegance, of silent threat. Just think of the archetype: a glamorous woman at a lavish dinner, a glass of wine in one hand, a sly smile, and no one knows what's really in the drink. It's not just fiction, it's fear wrapped in fascination. We're drawn to the idea that something so lovely could also be lethal. Mini lesson. Stories like these remind us that the most dangerous things don't always wear a warning label. Sometimes they come dressed in velvet and perfume. That's why we're captivated by Belladonna, not just for what it is, but for what it represents: the duality of beauty and risk. But for all the stories we've told, we haven't yet looked at Belladonna for what it really is: a plant, a piece of nature, a chemical engine built by evolution. In the next part, we're going to strip away the myths and fiction and get real about what's actually inside Belladonna, how it affects the human body, and why just a few berries can shut your body down in minutes. For all its fame, all the myths and murders, Belladonna is, at its core, just a plant. It doesn't whisper, it doesn't scheme. It simply grows: leaves soft and dark, flowers deep purple, and berries that look like shiny black pearls. Beautiful and absolutely lethal. Inside this elegant plant are alkaloids, chemical compounds like atropine, scopolamine, and hyoscyamine. Sounds like a spell book, doesn't it? But these aren't magic. They're powerful agents that block signals in your nervous system. Even small doses can cause your pupils to dilate, your heart to race, and your body to overheat. A little more, and you start hallucinating. Lose your grip on reality. And with just a handful of berries, especially in children, it can lead to coma, seizures, even death. To put it simply, your body forgets how to function. Here's a chilling fact: as few as 2 to 5 berries can be fatal for a child, and 10 to 20 for an adult. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite all of that, despite the horror stories and toxic potential, Belladonna is still used in medicine today. In tiny measured doses, it's used in eye exams to dilate pupils. It's in antispasmodic drugs, helping people with irritable bowel syndrome or Parkinson's disease. Doctors have even used it to treat motion sickness. So what gives? How can something so deadly also heal? Mini lesson. It all comes down to dose and context. Belladonna is neither good nor evil. It's a tool. And like any tool, it depends on who's holding it and how they use it. The very same substance that can take a life can also improve one. It's not about fear. It's about understanding. But there's still one more layer to this story. Because while Belladonna has this dangerous reputation, it's not alone. Many plants wear masks, looking harmless, even helpful, while hiding potent poisons inside. So in the final part of our video, let's talk about common mistakes people make with plants like Belladonna, how you can stay safe, and how nature's most dangerous species often look the most inviting. So now you know the truth behind the beauty. You've traveled through time, from Venetian noblewomen risking blindness for beauty, to a nurse with candy-coated death, to ancient generals using plants as silent weapons, to stories, science, and even salvation in modern medicine. But the story doesn't end in a textbook, because Belladonna is still out there, growing in gardens, fields, even along the edges of hiking trails. And every year, people still make mistakes. Some brew herbal teas using wild leaves they can't quite identify. Some let children wander into forests where those shiny black berries look a lot like blueberries. Others experiment with natural remedies they read about online, unaware of the risks. It's not always malicious. Sometimes it's just a moment of not knowing. And that's the real danger. Not the poison itself, but the illusion of safety. Belladonna has always worn a mask. She's a shapeshifter in the garden, elegant, silent, deadly if misused, life-saving if understood. Mini lesson. What Belladonna teaches us is this. The world isn't black and white. Beauty can hide risk. Danger can hide in kindness. And even the deadliest tools, if respected, can become instruments of healing. It's a reminder to stay curious, stay humble, and always look deeper than what meets the eye. And now I have a question for you. If you ever came face to face with Belladonna, would you recognize her? If this video gave you chills, taught you something new, or just made you think, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and tell us in the comments. Type 1 if this video changed how you see the natural world. Type 0 if we still have room to grow. We read every comment and your feedback helps us get better. And hey, what mysterious plant or poison should we explore next? Wolfsbane? Hemlock? The tree that bleeds acid? Let us know in the comments. This channel is built for curious minds like yours. And don't forget to hit the bell, because in the next episode, we'll take you even deeper into the strange, beautiful, and sometimes terrifying world of nature's hidden powers. Until then, stay curious, stay careful, and always read the label.